Oh no, this is a travesty to a whole nother level. Yeah, you've probably already seen by now, but a recent fan ending for JJK has just come out, and let me tell you boys, whoever wrote this up was in the stew working and needs to quit immediately, because this shit was just 2 packs of ass. But before we get started, if you can like and subscribe. Again, like I said in my previous video, I recently lost my Apple Watch. Shit is tragic right now, so if you just help me out a little bit, I really appreciate that. But let's get straight into it. Now, like I just mentioned, a recent JJK fan ending has just come out, and with the way they were hyping their work up, you would have thought they were their next coming of fucking Ichido Oda. I'm talking the way that the pen would just be elegantly dancing on that paper. You would think that shit was poetic justice. You would think they would have wrote poems in this ending. But no, it is the furthest from the truth. Now, I only read the first page, and then I just couldn't read the rest of it. I mean, look at this dialogue right here. I mean, it doesn't take a fucking genius to realize how bad this is. And this just goes to show, I think maybe people have a warped perception on how writing a story actually works. I bet they were so confident, like, yeah, you know, JJK ending was ass. I could do so much better. They're the average Twitter user for real. Average TikTok user thinking they can write better than the actual writers themselves. So they attempted it and probably realized halfway through, like, holy fuck, never mind. This goes on a whole bigger scale of people being delusional in just storytelling and or just like in the entertainment industry. People don't realize how genuinely hard it is to connect a story, make good, interesting dialogue week to week in a movie, make it make sense, connect all the plots, etc. While also drawing. This shit looks AI drawn, which I have no problem with AI, to be honest. I'm not even exposing myself here. Sometimes I use AI for my thumbnails to like expand it. Like say if there's like an image that's only like fills up half of the screen, I'll AI expand it so you get a full image. But I do still do all my own thumbnails. Like I have my own style of doing them as well. I'm trying to switch it up. But I think they use AI art and like traced it over. But this shit is just genuinely ass cheeks. And I'm finna quote myself again. This just goes on a whole nother like global scale on how people are so delusional. Now the reason why this whole thing even came out, why this whole fan ending has even come to fruition in the first place, is because people think that the JJK ending is ass, and or they think it's wasted potential. I think one of the biggest narratives about the JJK ending and the whole manga ending is that Gege Akutami was ass. That like he had such a good manga, it's a top 5 manga. Now if you go on Twitter, you'll see like 50 different arguments on how ass Gege was. You would have thought this brother was like Kim K back in 2014, just on the generational ass run. And with the way people are downplaying his talent, some of the most famous ones I've seen so far are like he made a top 3 manga, but then there's a top bottom ending, which the ending isn't that bad, which I'll mention that later. How he fumbled a generational manga, how it's a bottom 5 shonen manga of all time, how it's only about fights. Anything you could think of, they've probably said it about him. It's not how he just threw away characters, they had no development, there's no world building, etc. Now motherfuckers just don't read the story of JJK in the first place whenever they say this, and I could tell why. I think one of the crazy examples of people saying it's a bottom 5 shonen and or Gege fumbled. I think if you genuinely say this like unironically, like without rage baiting, you're just a straight up fucking dumbass. JJK is honestly one of the most entertaining. Gege had his grip on the entire world's balls. JJK was running shit for like a whole year straight. His run from Sukuna going to Megumi's body until the end, I think will never be replicated by any other anime movie franchise. Like that shit was like Infinity War Endgame MCU shit. The dude was just legendary on his 1996 Jordan type shit. Dude was going crazy week by week by week. In under a minute, a leak post would get like 1 million views. It was going crazy. People saying that he's a bad writer, etc., are just simply wrong. They go off agendas. And if they don't like something in the story, they'll be like, oh, he's a bad writer. I could have wrote so much better, when they just genuinely couldn't. And I want to address like the whole world building and the character development, etc. Saying how he had so much lore he could have done, like he could explore the entire world, entire Japan, or whatever they say. And I think that's just a straight up dumbass point. And like, you didn't read JJK, because that's not what JJK is about. JJK is not like a Hunter x Hunter, you know, One Piece. I mean, it takes place in real life Japan, big fella. What the fuck you want to learn about Kyoto? The backstory of Kyoto, the samurai? Fuck no. People saying that there's no character development just haven't read the story. They probably don't even understand what Yuji meant by I'm you. Ask them. And like that goes for a whole other things too. Whenever you ask somebody, no, what's the problem with JJK? It's like they went on mute. It's like they can't talk anymore. It's like they forgot English. Because people are bringing up problems that really don't exist in the first place. One, the world building. Again, like I said, it's real world Japan. Who gives a fuck? Character development. There's a whole lot of character development, and you get Sukuna go with one of the greatest endings I've ever seen. Yuji's whole development, Gojo, like the whole, are you the strongest, you know, Geto, Maki, Yuta. I mean, you had so many goated ass characters in this series. And not every character deserves the whole main character treatment. Kusakabe, the lawyer dude. Who gives a fuck about them? Like, honestly, the panda guy, I mean, in the epilogue, people saw he was on the shelf and couldn't give a fuck about him because, again, who cares? There's always characters like that. You can't make every character Monkey D. Luffy. You get special treatment to the special characters, and that's perfectly okay. People always complain about how they could have gone to more lore, but that's not the whole point of the series. It's a shonen manga that was about fights. From chapter 1, the entire premise of JJK was about Sukuna and Sukuna himself. There is no lore to explore. There is no backstories, no more like expansion he could have done, no more world building, because that's not the point of JJK. JJK was a story about Ryomen Sukuna and trying to encase him. I mean, Gojo's birth 20 years before the story actually started literally wiped every single cursed spirit off of the planet. Bro was doing solo squads, and the cursed energy, cursed spirits only happen in Japan too, so it's not like he can go to like America or anything. There's just nothing, because that's not what JJK is about. It was all about Sukuna and Sukuna himself, and the battle of the strongest trying to contain him. Yuji's whole conflict of whether he should have even been alive in the first place, Nobura's development, Todo being goated, and people are just pointing out flaws in it that don't really exist because that's not the point of the story. That's like saying LeBron James can't fucking swim like Michael Phelps. Like, obviously not. That's not what the point of his career is. You can't ask a fish to climb up a tree, big fella. You're pointing out non-existent things that, again, don't matter in the context that you're talking about. One of the most rampant ones I've seen is the Heian era flashback. I don't think people fucking understand. If Gege really did a Heian era flashback, it would just be JJK part 2. Sukuna whooped everybody's ass so bad in the Heian era. There were plumbers, truck drivers, etc. He whooped them so bad, he was like, I'm gonna reincarnate myself just so I could whoop some more, dude. It's like they don't read the fucking story, man. Zenin clan, all of the clans fighting. Again, who cares? They were never the problem. They were never the conflict. They were never the focus. It's like y'all don't be reading the goddamn story. Another huge complaint was that the ending was just a Sukuna gauntlet. Gege just grinding characters to their deaths. And yeah, that's the point. The dude was the strongest, just like in the Heian era. Everybody had to try to find him, and still in the end, they couldn't. Until Yuji developed into the Yuji he is now and counteracted him. That's the whole point. The dude was so OD, you basically had to sacrifice yourself for the greater good. And it just showed like the power levels between them. And Gege is just such a good writer, man. He created, in my opinion, the best manga fights that ever happened. Sukuna versus Gojo, man. Whenever that shit gets animated, that's gonna feed generations, feed lives. It's such a shame too how he felt depressed on people like pressing him, saying he's bad. All about the, I think the ending was very good, by the way. Such a good conclusion. Sukuna had one of the best setups I've ever seen. It was a really good ending. I was really happy with that. I even made a video about it saying how good I thought it was. And JJK will go down as a top 3, top 5 manga of all time because it deserves it. You have Shibuya. Get some of the most goated ass villains like Mahito, Sukuna, Geto. Like, oh my god, that big 3 right there. Holy fucku, man. Maharaga as well, put him in there. Like, god damn. I know if Gege like actually did what some of these people said, like if he world building lore, whatever they said, actually into the story, they wouldn't give a fuck about it. Why? Because who cares? We had this little group. The Jujutsu Society is so like enclosed that the general public doesn't even know about it. Jojo literally walked into Shibuya and nobody recognized them because that's how like secretive they are. I think people are just weirdos and just want to be different so bad. They want to be different so bad. Just like a certain group of people. It's weirdo ass behavior to me. And Gege, you're honestly one of the goats, man. Created an entertaining ass manga, goated ass manga with honestly great lore. Probably my favorite fighting system of all time, like domain expansions, curse energy, reverse curse technique, binding vows, the whole arsenal. I think he created just in terms of just straight battling, the best shonen manga of all time. It was so entertaining how you could just switch it up in the middle of battle. And how it was all about matchups. You know, you had like summonings as well. Like it was, oh my god. JJK, you had heavenly restrictions, cursed tools. Like, oh my god, Gege is just, he was in his bag creating JJK. Hidden inventory. The dude is just goated.